Hello, this is Barbara Green with my friend Vicki Anderson manning the camera, and this is the second segment of working with sugar. We're molding panorama eggs today, and I'm going to show you the assembly. After your eggs have sat and dried, I have dried them anywhere from 4 hours to overnight. So, depending upon your temperature, you'll just have to find out. It's trial and error. So you want to start scraping out the sugar. And you want to be sure you have all the sugar scraped out, or your icing won't stick on the inside. So you want about 1/4 inch all the way around. Now, to assemble these, we're going to be using royal icing. Royal icing does not have any fat, and when you make it, you want to be sure that all of your utensils are grease free. If there's any grease in your tips or the bag, your icing won't set up properly. So I generally use parchment bags when I'm making sugar eggs. To fill the inside, instead of using the grass tip, the number 233, I prefer to use the leaf tip. If you use the grass tip, sometimes it doesn't want to stick in the bottom if you happen to have any loose sugar. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to be pulling up some leaves around the edge, filling in the center. I'll work backwards so you can see better. Now, there's many different items to use inside your eggs. These are a Wilton product, and they come ready-made. This is a sugar lay-on, the chicken and the lamb. All these are just called sugar lay-ons. They come in many different shapes and sizes. Here's a little bunny. This rabbit was made with fondant and pressed into a candy mold, as well as this little girl bunny and little boy bunny. They were both pressed into a candy mold and then hand painted. This bunny was figure piped with royal icing. The tree was molded in this candy mold using fondant. Now, when I'm making the different things out of fondant, I let them dry for a long time to make sure that they're thoroughly dry and will hold their shape. Now, when I put the tree in the egg, I pipe a mound of royal icing behind it to make sure it stands up straight. And whenever you're making tall things, you want to be sure that the top is going to fit. So you want to try the top and make sure it sits properly. So I'm going to put a little bunny, a little chick, a little flower, or you could be molding eggs in candy molds. Now, it's a good idea to let the eggs dry overnight in between each step. That's another reason you won't be making just one. Now, I'm going to take royal icing. I'm going to pipe around the edge. And stick on the top. And again, let this dry for several hours. Once dry, you can add your border. Now, I'm using a star tip, and I'm going to pipe shells around the edge. using your hand like a turntable, you can come around and pipe the border around the seam. People just can't figure out how on earth you get all those little figures inside. It doesn't occur to them that you're doing it in 2 pieces. Once again, we would let this dry overnight. To add your top, I'm using the leaf tip again. I'm pulling out some leaves from the top, pulling down. You want it to dry overnight because if you're not careful, you would put your hand into your border and mess it up. So that's why it's important to let them dry in between. Now I'm piping a mound of icing on the top. I do not cut my ribbon in pieces because if you do, you have a lot of waste. So I leave it attached. You can either use a toothpick or the bottom of the spoon. Stick your ribbon down in the icing. I'm making 4 loops. Cut it off so there's no waste. And now it's time to start adding your flowers. I'm going to put a little icing down in between the loops. And now I'm going to place the flowers. The pink flowers were molded in a silicone mold. The pansies I made from royal icing. So I start to stick them on while the icing is still wet. I piped the little chick and let it dry, and then I molded the small egg with one of the small little eggs that you would hide at Easter time with your children. So we'll stick a little chicken in here. These are royal icing drop flowers that I made. And your egg is complete. Once again, let it dry overnight.
Rotate it so you see the back. There you go.
Join us again for upcoming videos of molding and playing with sugar. Enjoy.